Wait, so there was a masterclass I was watching recently, and uh, it was Zimmerman talking about Chopin, the first ballad, um, over there, and they only did that first, got to like the first page,
Mm.
and that was like one of the moments where exactly what you were saying, like, kind of came to light for me. Like, because the student was playing, and he was like, "You seem way too sure of yourself." um, in how you're playing this. Like, you're exploring, you find ideas, some of them don't work, then you keep like searching through the page, and then you finally settle
Yeah.
on like an idea, and like yeah, it's really nice to like have that aspect when interpreting pieces, um,
Mm.
or it all goes together. It's all like kind of a big
Yeah, it is. And I think this is where the difficulty lies as an interpreter. I always feel it's almost like looking at a photo. Someone has clicked a photo about a certain happy or sad or whatever memory. For example, maybe
yeah,
a family in the beach, they take a picture and they felt certain emotions and they've had certain experiences and they've clicked this photo from that sphere of experience that is happening, and they bring that photo back and they frame it and they put it in the house, and guests come in and look at it, and obviously they get some kind of feel of what was happening, but then their minds describe everything else that may or may not have happened around that, because they
yeah,
have no idea. Like, you see the four people on the picture, but you don't know the 10 people around them, or what else was the scenery around. All of that is conjured subconsciously in the person who's seeing the photo. You're
yeah,
conjuring up images, you're conjuring up emotions. And I feel that is something similar to what we do as interpreters. You're given this picture from a certain part of a composer's life. And you can see this, but you don't know anything around it other than the research that has been done. And even that is just you reading off a book. And you create images and impressions of what it could have been
yeah.
and create something out of it. So that's always how I've looked at it. But I
No, it's
think
difficult.
it's
So,
hard. It's really
yeah,
hard. And I think this is where, like you said, Hindustani music is very strongly melodic based. Western music is very strongly harmonic based, and just the way I guess you think of the phase patterns and all of this working together. Composers in Western music think of harmonies working together, like
yeah.
trying to create something unique that works within that, but something that is a signature for themselves as well. So the next question I've been meaning to ask you is about microtones. There are a lot of microtones in Hindustani music, and it's difficult to, or almost impossible to get them on a piano because you know, that option isn't available. Other than perhaps a mixing of the overtones. I mean, you could play the to a certain extent, get that.
Yeah.
How do you tackle this?
I mean, at one point you just have to go. You can't bend notes, and that's it. Like, it's it's not an instrument where you can bend notes. So there's things that I do where there's so many different ways of approaching this thing, because one, you can change the frequency that the string is vibrating after you play the note, depending on how you release it, or how you release the pedal, or you just shake the piano or flap the lid or something, and like, and the piano note anyway is sharp and then it dips, and depending on how you attack it, you can make it slightly lower or slightly higher, and that helps. That's one of the things that can help in creating the illusion of microtones. The second thing is you retune the note, which means most pianos and concert venues won't let you do that. Um, and that works too, and it sounds really beautiful when pianos are in just intonation. But um, Indian music doesn't really work with like fixed microtones, because there's the whole 22 Shruti system, 22 notes in an octave, and that's great in theory, but no performer really does that. Like, the idea of like an Ati Komal Ga in Rag Thodi, super flat Ga, is that's that's mostly what it is. Like, and I've sat and measured people's recordings from Daga Brothers, like Asad Ali Khan, like all of these different things. And it's a spectrum, it's a range. Depending on what the phrase needs, it'll be a different intonation. And it's all about finding the one that feels good. And you don't have that ability to change it in the moment on the piano. But then the other thing, which is kind of, there'll be a lot more research that's needed for this, but I feel this when I'm playing, and a few people that I've spoken to feel it when they're playing, which a combination of knowing all of these things and knowing the rag in your head um, leads to you feeling like the intonation isn't like disturbing it. And in the most recent record that I did, two people wrote back saying, "Oh, what tuning did you have the piano?" And it's like it was equal tempo tune on the morning of the recording. They're like, "Oh, it really didn't feel like it." And there were all of these like small things that I haven't figured out like a crystalline method of how it works, but I know that because if you play an F sharp and you play D octaves like cup, uh, like an octave below, that F sharp will feel flatter than um, if you play like say a B or something over there, because our brain wants to take complex uh, tuning ratios and simplify them into whole number things. So it automatically that justifies it, and also the overtones coming out of the D's, the F sharp overtones coming over mix with the F sharp that you're playing, and then it feels slower. And all of those things, I guess, once you like spend a while like figuring out how that's happening and you attack it like softly, it helps create the illusion of it. And it feels like the way to do this is like really think about the instrument just being a tool and getting the music in your head and adapting like expressiveness on an instrument to as high a degree as you can in terms of communicating that idea in your head to the other person. And such a big inspiration from this was talking to people who play harpsichord because they don't
Yes.
have like all the ways that they used to create the illusion of dynamics and
Yeah.
um, things is insane, and you really feel them when you're listening to a performance, and it's just micro rhythms and touch and
Yeah.
all of those things, which is incredible to think about.
It's incredible. And it's incredible how the human mind perceives sound as well, isn't it? And how you
Yeah,
can play with that. The fluid piano, which you have played on, and which
yeah,
I listened to that performance and it was amazing. Like just, I mean, you're an amazing performer, but also the instrument it was like this perfect marriage, I think.
yeah.
What was that experience like?
I mean, it was incredible. That instrument is so special. Um, the I I probably only played it for, let me think, 5 days in my life, um, because I heard that it was somebody had invented it, so I went over to check it out in Brighton, UK, in 2009, like a year after it was invented, and it was in a storage place, and I played it for like 15-20 minutes, and the inventor Jeff Smith filmed a short video, put it up on YouTube, and then I knew I wanted to go and record an album, and it took 5 years to like figure out the logistics and things. And then I had 3 days with the instrument in this church where they gave me the keys to this beautiful church in the countryside where the instrument was stored. And I had 3 days to figure out how to play it and work the sliders, and
Wow.
on the fourth day go and record an album.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and obviously in preparation I was working with like MIDI keyboards and pitch bending, trying to figure out how it sounds like, and had all of these ideas. And in the end, some of the things that I thought would work didn't work on the instrument. Some of the things that I didn't even know would be possibilities were there on that instrument. And it's a one of a kind instrument prototype. It's got its little bugs and problems. You have to keep going to buy like fine talcum powder so that the sliders
Huh.
would not get stuck.
Gosh.
Um, had to get a layer of felt put over it, but then there were all of these like weird little quirks in the instrument that um, I didn't know were part of it that helped a huge amount. And um, I will say this, like it's amazing and I want to play it as much as I can. It does not feel like a piano.
Right. What's the
It's
touch
a it's
like?
its own thing.
Yeah.
It's light. It's kind of like early pianos, like forte pianos,
Mhm.
and the range is also I think 5 octaves.
Right.
The touch is pretty light. The bends are like a semitone up or a semitone down. So
Right.
if you play a C sharp, then you can bend from a C to a D. So a
Oh.
lot of the training was like trying to play intentionally play the wrong notes and making sure the slider is there. Um,
But I
but it's
mean,
fun. If you ever
it
go
sounds
to the
genius.
UK,
Yeah. Oh
you
my
should
God.
play.
I've been wanting to, ever since I saw your video, I've been wanting to try that instrument out. I think it's, but it's genius that this person has, sorry, I can't remember his name, but
Jeff
um,
Smith, Jeffrey Smith.
yeah, genius. Just to have created something like that and to have, I think it's not just, Indian classical. He's had a lot of different performers from a lot of different backgrounds come and create albums on that instrument, hasn't he? So,
Um, I don't know how many other people have made albums. A lot of people went to check it out. Um, a big inspiration and friend, Matthew Bourne.
mhm.
He's a great pianist. He composed a bunch of things for it, and there were a lot of people who had it. Damon Albarn from the Gorillaz had it in his studio for a while. I think just before I got to go and record on it. But it's one of those things that I thought everyone would be ordering one around the world. Like there
Yeah,
has to like every big university should have one,
they
but
should.
I don't know why. Like if you have the money to have that instrument, like it's such a great way of decolonizing the piano
I
and have
agree.
access to it and like commission people to write music and do
Yeah.
things, and no one's really taken the initiative to do that.
Which is really
I
sad.
think there's still just one that exists, and it's sitting with Jeff in Brighton. Um, it's an
That's sad.
amazing instrument. It feels so alive and great, and people should really get one.
Yes.
Uh,
Everybody go away. I'll put a link to, I think it's a Utsav's performance or his album, which is on YouTube. Am I correct in thinking it's on
yeah, I
YouTube?
think I think
Yeah.
it should be there. Yeah,
So if it's on YouTube, I'll definitely attach the link down here so you guys can go and check it out. It's an amazing instrument. It's an amazing performance. It's really worth listening to the music that was created on that instrument. And go look into this instrument as well. It's fascinating. It's fascinating what he's done and what he's created. So
yeah,
I think one of the biggest takeaways here is that you need to change how you think sometimes. If something isn't working in what you're doing, you should probably look around you and try and find something that breaks your mentality that can allow for the changes to happen that need to happen for whatever you're doing to work.
yeah. Um,
And it's really wonderful meeting you again after a
yeah,
long time.
long
And,
time. Yeah, it's this has been so nice, and I'm so excited to hear the rest of the series and all the other interviews that you're gonna do. Seems like an amazing project.
I mean, I'm really excited to take the interviews because I learn so much talking to other musicians, about their
Yeah,
experiences and things. And I think it's important,
yeah,
isn't it, to visit different genres and visit different minds as well. Otherwise, you get stuck into one kind of mode of thinking.
yeah. You gotta constantly be filling it up with all kinds of stuff, letting it
Exactly.
slowly filter out to leave your own things there.
Exactly. Well, see you everybody for the next series that we have. And thank you, Utsav. Thank you a lot for
Yeah,
joining me today. It's
thanks.
been an absolute pleasure. And
Yeah.
see you everybody for the next time. Bye.